Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason. Today we're going to be taking a look at Faster Than Light. This is a really fun map. It's a map that's sort of mirrored after a lot of the StarCraft 2 tropes in the way that those maps are designed, and it means that you get some really interesting build orders, some really fun stuff. And today, spawning and representing the blue team here on the sort of southeastern side, it's going to be Pink General. A little bit confusing with that name, I suppose, as the Cortex commander dressed all in blue here, but Pink General nonetheless going to be representing the blue team, coming in at 32 true skill, a couple of little gold bars on top of a silver tail, representing here everything that the blue team has to offer. On the northwestern side, and representing the red team, is an Armada commander dressed up here in that beautiful fire truck red. It's going to be Mr. Tumnus. Mr. Tumnus here going to be showing off his skills here on the northern side, leading the red team here, hopefully to victory. I'm sure all the red teammates are hoping for. Blue team probably likewise. Faster Than Light. You can see the whole map if I just zoom out here. It's not an impressively massive map. It's not one of those ones that you can really have all the space in the world. It's a very dense map. It's very compact, and what that means is that oftentimes we also get strategies that revolve around that sort of density, that sort of compact nature. And so we see a lot of artillery harassment. We see a lot of cool bombing runs. We see a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of dead space out here on the northern and southern sides, so going for some sort of aerial shenanigans is also extremely potent in that direction. Pink General here, flying the commander on over, using that air transport. There is an anti-air tower. The Nettle was built over here. MT King also going to be doing that. Oh, there is an anti-air tower. Oh, just barely. MT King manages to get that commander on the ground before the anti-air tower takes it down. Very, very close call right there for the yellow commander. Pink General here now going to be locked in a laser battle over here. This is going to get a little awkward, so I wonder how we're going to try and resolve this right now. Currently, MT King building an LLT started his a whole lot quicker than Pink General. Pink General is going to be forced off the line right now, and the LLT is going to do some serious work. Oh no, Pink General, you cannot stand your ground there. Oh, he goes for the trade. Goes for the trade. All right, they're going to trade out commanders right there on the high ground. There is an air constructor already waiting right here for Crispy Bacon, the orange player on the red team here. Very nicely done. Going to start eating up that metal. Super, super juicy. 33 metal per second. Coming back now to the orange commander. Fighter was sent on across here to try and shut it down. Not going to happen, though. Another commander was spared. Nebuchadnezzar going to send on... Oh, actually going to hand over the commander and send it over in this direction. We're also going to move another commander up here. Mr. Tumnus sending his commander up as well. My goodness, are we going for another trade? It looks like we are. Both commanders eating up these corpses here while blasting each other to smithereens. That's quite funny. I guess we're gonna move a resbot on up here as well. Are we just gonna trade out the commanders? Seems a little bit, oh, I see. We're using the resbot for repair up here. That's cute. That's real cute. So Mr. Tumnus going to stand his ground here, going to build that LLT, and boy, all the action happening on this little high ground over here. Meanwhile, on the southern side, VDB going for an excellent little expand. Commander walking along in this direction. We've got some pawns, we've got all that sort of stuff. Risky Reddit going to be going up against him. Going for a vehicle bait, though, so a little bit slower on the start. Little crossbow over here, that anti-air bot. That's quite nice to see. Walking Nerd has now moved his commander up onto the high ground here as well, and is going to blast down that LLT, forcing Mr. Tumnus to retreat off the high ground here. And eventually, after a hard-fought battle, two commanders down, one apiece from each side here. Mr. Tumnus very low on health. It's gonna be the blue team who captures this high ground, and yeah, that's exactly what I was expecting. We're gonna go for some of those... Whoa, pardon me. We're gonna go for some of those shell shockers here. Shell shockers, obviously going to be extremely powerful against all of this right here in the middle, because they can rain down death from above without really being counter-harassed. It's not really going to be viable to counter-harass them. Mr. Tumnus reads this correctly, though. He realizes, yeah, they're probably going to go for some of those shell shockers up in the high ground, so one of the only things that can counter those shell shockers is shell shockers themselves here, so probably going to be starting up some artillery of his own. Centurion and Thug on the front line here, a very sturdy composition, to say the very least, and if we do still have that resbot, yeah, indeed we do, could definitely patch up this Centurion, make it virtually unkillable in the front lines. One or two resbots can really make a Centurion stand out, especially in the T1 era. Make LLT in mid to stop them from building, says the purple commander. The air commander here for the blue team. Clamps also coming down south here to help out wherever possible. VDB. Apparently was handed out a tank. Or, oh no, actually it was just a tank from Clamps here who's now walking up this little lane over here. I definitely would have liked to see a pivot away from this high ground and instead going for this one. I think that definitely would have been a slightly more efficient strategy here for using that leftover air transport, is using it to move the commander over onto this high ground and trying to capture this. Instead, the blue team is now going to have control over 3 more metal extractors up on this high ground. Both high grounds also going to be available to them. And here come those shell shockers. Whistler is already out and available here. Mr. Tumnus trying to be the vision right here that these units need to push in. Centurion's strong, don't get me wrong, but certainly not invincible, as one of them does go down right here. The one Centurion on the front line. Yeah, Mr. Tumnus taking a heavy hit. Oh no, Commander goes down to a couple of LLTs. Hero LLTs over here managed to survive. That is a devastating blow right there to the red team. You gotta remember, on these games, this is a 5v5, by the way. In a 5v5, you only have 5 commanders to spare here. Commander instantly gets transported over here to start eating up that wreckage. Nicely done. I'm assuming we're gonna eat that up anyways, yeah. Mr. Tumnus trying to salvage the best of this situation possible, but that Resbot has no chance of being able to recover that wreckage. That is firmly under the control right now of the blue team. They have air support, they have the commander there. Well, the commander is taking shots from the shell shockers, though. That's pretty uncomfortable, but definitely not going to be devastating. Oh, actually D-guns it. Ooh, I think Peak General misread that. Thought the pressure was going to be a whole lot higher than it actually was. D-gunning down that corpse. Definitely wasting quite a bit of metal right there. But either way, still an advantage for the blue team, just not as pressing an advantage as it could have been. LLT still coming up on the southern side right here. It's risky Reddit versus 2. Transport for this maybe calls out the yellow player, but it's a bit too late. Clamps has already set this up, although that being said, it's not like this is super heavily fortified here. We have a single crossbow, which is not going to be able to shoot down a transport before it can get over here and set down a commander, as long as it's full health, I do believe anyways. Yeah, our yellow commander right now, MT King rather, struggling for metal. Calls it out in chat, and certainly true. Only 2 metal to their name. Very, very low on the metal generation. Right now, a commander is actually spared over here for the yellow commander, so that at the very least he can start doing a little bit more counter aggression over here in the front line. So shell shockers, though, built in quite a few numbers at this point. We're up to, let's call it about 7 of those shell shockers up here on the high ground. More inbound as well. Could go for the geothermal here. It's a little bit risky, but yeah, there's tons of metal in the bank right now for Walking Nerd. I actually wouldn't mind it whatsoever. Build power is coming up in the back line, as well as some advanced solar panels. Don't mind that whatsoever. Yeah, those advanced solar panels are actually probably a better investment right now. Only 167 energy production right now for the cyan green, or neon green commander here, so probably not going to be the end of the world to go for a little bit of energy production, go into a little bit of build power, get that economy stabilized around a better source of energy than these T1 solar panels, and then eventually transition into heavier reinforcements on the front lines. Bombers headed out now. As I was talking about that dead space, there's tons and tons of it up here on the northern side. There's a lot down south here as well. And frankly, there's a lot of dead space all over this map right here. But yeah, a whole bunch of bombers are now parked all around over here. Fighters are coming in to try and clear whatever air screen might be protecting this area. Bombers trailing a little bit further behind than I would have liked to see. Don't think it's going to matter all too much. These fighters are going to take a decent trade right here for the orange commander. Yep, there we go. Clearing out a significant portion of those fighters right there. They'll double back and they'll keep firing away at everything over here as well. They do spy the gunships over here, which is also quite nice. Oh, those bombers are a little mistargeted. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, those Stormbringers totally mistargeted right there. Oh, no. Fumbling tremendously all of a sudden. Yeah, Stormbringers not connecting with anything whatsoever. We need to target down some of this economy. There we go. We finally take down, at the very least, some of those energy converters. We could go for the solar panels as well. That's always a powerful option here. Usually you're looking for wind turbines. Those are almost always the best option to bomb. These advanced solar panels are certainly another good one. If you can take down the laboratory too, that's certainly an option. Yeah, here we go. We're not dispersing the bombs in any one area, but it does mean that whatever we blow up is going to be blown up permanently and catastrophically here. Solar panels just barely survive, but just barely being the key word here. Yeah, I think just go for the lab. We might be able to just secure the kill on the lab right here. Yeah, there we go. Takes down the lab. That's going to be no more air forces coming out for the blue team. Certainly hinders their advantage right now. That being said, red players certainly feeling the pressure right here. But the problem with these shell shockers, they win this lane, but they can't do anything else. They can contest area around this high ground, and that is a lot of metal that's not going back to the red team at that point. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of counterattack damage happening in the backline right here. The purple player has been completely ravaged. Gunships are idle right now. Maybe they could get up in the air and start harassing down some of the other places on this map. There's a lot of anti-air trucks over here though, so maybe not over there. Maybe just right down the middle would be the best option. There's a lot of fighters available still for crispy bacon though. So I don't think it'd be the end of the world if those gunships showed their heads. Yeah, nice bombing right there, but it's been matched up perfectly here by the bombardment, so to speak, from these shell shockers. Down goes the red player's base. Resbot gonna move in to try and recuperate any losses that are available. We basically are down a player at this point here for the red team. Not a whole lot that Mr. Thomas is gonna be able to do from this position here. We have a single constructor just hiding on the side of this little ramp over here. Cheeky constructor, trying its very best to camouflage itself. Resbot in a little bit of trouble. Ooh, artillery does snipe it. That's unfortunate. Single constructor. I don't know if Mr. Thomas even knows he has a constructor hidden over there. Very difficult to see until you zoom out all the way. Missile trucks being oh so annoying. Firing away from long range. Slowly but surely picking off one of those Rocketeers at a time. Very annoying to deal with that. Slowly but surely whittling down this force. It's exactly what Risky Reddit needs to do here. It's this kind of efficiency that you have to handle. You have to be willing to slowly but surely grind down your opponent, because otherwise if you lose all of this in one big push, yeah, you're going to be in a pretty tricky spot. VDB going for the geothermal over here, making sure there's enough energy to fund all of the different expansions and whatnot. We actually have a lot of a lot of regular solar panels here. Would love to see these eaten up as soon as that geothermal comes online. It's basically going to take over energy production, doubling it essentially for the Cyan Commander here. Definitely could eat up a lot of those solar panels, turn them into units, and make a big, huge push right through the middle of the map here. Constructor trying to hold the ground over here, making the very best of a very bad situation. Mr. Tubman is trying desperately to help his team still from whatever position he can, but that will be the very last of the constructors here for the Red Commander. MT King making a play up through this section, though. I like it. Yeah, this was never actually fully fortified here by Clamps. He didn't anticipate that there would be any shenanigans as far as transporting a commander up to this hillside goes. So yeah, MT King actually establishing a nice little facility over here. We have a whole bunch of T1 solar panels over here again. Usually in the back line. Oh, okay, yeah, this is what I was expecting. A whole lot of these advanced solar panels here just used as essentially the only economic growth right now, but it is a tremendous economy. 1,480 energy now going into the Hot Pink Commander's economy. It's very nice to see. MT King slowly but surely expanding the economy here. Those energy converters certainly contributing quite a lot, but also those metal extractors he's now capturing also going to be quite helpful. The trigger is pulled, and I guess the armies are going to clash over here, although those missile trucks are not going to have as effective a time as they were probably hoping here. They're firing at the commander. They really want to get the kill, but they're not going to get it. Well, that Janus might have been able to snipe the commander, but unfortunately it's going to fire into this crowd of units. Still a pretty efficient trade for that Janus, but not exactly going to be able to take down the Cyan Commander right there. Blue player now leaking a whole lot of energy, which is going to be quite useful for everybody else on the team who's now going for some T2 transitions here. We do have a T2 transition out of Walking Nerd. We're also going for T2 right here for Clamps, both of which going to be struggling as that T2 is going to make it quite difficult to actually do all too much. Not a whole lot of units going to be produced right here. MT King about to go down. Oh, well, the commander was at 1%, so the transport had to swoop in there, but it did die either way here. Oh, looks like it got D-gunned, though. Not sure exactly how that happened. It must have been when the Clamps here D-gunned down that LLT. It actually D-gunned down the commander wreckage as well. Actually ended up denying a little bit of that metal to the blue team. Not sure if that was intended or not, but yeah, a little bit of a interesting benefit right there. There is no contest right here for all these Rocketeers that are now dismantling slowly but surely the base of MT King. Is it a play on words? Is it supposed to sound like Empty King? As in like nothing, empty, zero inside the king? Could be. Could very well be. Not a lot of anti-air over here on this side. Certainly prone to gunship harassment. Maybe a good area where these Banshees could get some work done. Could have sniped a constructor, that's always nice. Missile trucks, though, going to ravage these Banshees. Yeah, not where you want to send those at. Not whatsoever. Ooh. Hurts quite a lot. VDB losing his front line. Oh, commanders go down right there. Huge trade. As suddenly those commanders both fall, taking down all of the static defense over on this right-hand side. Construction turret trying desperately to eat up the wreckages over here. Hey, you know what? Actually going to eat up quite a lot of those wreckages here. Yeah, where is the production in the backline right now? It looks like VDB is definitely slacking. We have nowhere near enough build power right now to pump out units in mass. Got a decent amount of metal out of that commander corpse, about half of it or so. But this is, yeah, this is a nice little comeback story on the left-hand side right here. The Tan player breaking through the line with the help of those shell shockers. Geothermal is going to go down, cutting power to VDB. Finally, we have a whole bunch of maces coming up on the front lines. It's a little bit of a tale of tragedy here. Resbots do eat up, well, at least one of those commanders. Maces certainly could march forward right here. I'm not sure why unit production was turned off right there. I guess we were going full-blown into the static defense, but I guess with the commander going down, all that metal was lost right there for the, yeah, the Cyan commander. T2 is up and available here. We are, oh, going for a Fatboy. Interesting. I was going to think maybe we were going to go for a sharpshooter or a spy bot, or maybe even just straight into hound production. Amassing hounds wouldn't be the end of the world here. Loads of blitzes, and they are split up nicely here. Yeah, those blitzes were split perfectly, and those are going to get an excellent trade against a lot of those maces. They take some heavy damage when the maces can fire on them, but if you split them pretty well, the AoE damage is mitigated, and really you can do some serious work with those blitz tanks. At this point, Clamps is actually in a little bit of trouble. The Shell Shocker's applying a nice bit of pressure right here to the Seafoam Green commander. Up on the high grounds here, still trying to hold the lines, but definitely feeling the burn as those yeah, Shell Shockers start to rain down death from above over here. Res it. Oh, okay. We're going to go for a res on the commander over here on the left-hand side. I suppose it makes sense. The red team down to just one commander here, so their win condition for the blue team is just to kill the very last commander, and Mr. Tumnus is hiding it all the way in the back lines here, but certainly makes him a little vulnerable. Yeah, a little bit more prone to explosion. Resbot's now coming out, trying to eat up a whole bunch of this wreckage. Very nicely done. Excellent composition. Definitely the Mace Resbot combo is quite a powerful one. With the inclusion of those the Resbots, the tanks cannot trade out perfectly efficiently against those maces. They just, you know, you can res, you can repair, you can reclaim, all that stuff basically means that these tanks won't actually be able to, well, yeah, efficiently trade out on the front lines. Means that you can actually stay in a competitive, well, fairly competitive game here. Lightning turrets coming up over here, but I really think aggression would be better. Just applying some pressure to this tank line and making sure that we trade out relatively evenly. We do have the support of our teammate here as well. Clamps pumping out a whole bunch of those units. Fatboy stomping its way down south here as well. I'd love to see that handed over right now. No reason to really keep that under control here for Walking Nerd. I think definitely handing that over to his teammate and allowing the APM of his teammate to be spent on that probably going to work a little better. Rocket Spiders here in the meantime, pushing their way across the map. They actually find the orange base right here in the middle of a T2 transition, a very vulnerable time period. Those spiders are going to fire their rocket payload directly into that T2 lab, and oh, there goes about 2,000 metal directly down the drain. Not even going to be recoverable in scrap here as it disappears into thin air. Excellent snipe right there. Definitely efficient for those rocket spiders. 400 apiece, and there's about 3 or 4 of them that went down right there. Sniping that T2 lab, extremely, extremely valuable. Fatboy contributing significantly. Yeah. Very excellent for dealing with big clumped up groups of tanks. Clamps in a little bit of trouble here. Yeah, I mean, these tanks are kind of skirting around the defenses here. But that Fatboy in the front line is going to be wonderful for tearing apart all this composition over here that the Tan player had built up over so long. We're sort of pushing the issue, and I'm not sure if that's really the right decision here. There's not really any reason to do anything except defend this Fatboy and let it continue shelling away over here. That's going to be so much more efficient than virtually any other unit that can push forward at this point. You might as well just keep it as safe as possible. Keep those Resbots attached to it. Keep the maces behind for fire support. Oh, and try to keep your maces out of the friendly fire zone. Always a tricky thing. Fatboy's one of those Armada units. Usually it's the Cortex ones that are more prone to it, but Armada definitely has their couple of units here and there that are extremely prone to friendly fire, and the Fatboy is definitely one of them. They're going to shut down those Resbots, though, so at the very least, that commander is not going to be resurrected. And in fact, I would love to see one of these commanders here for the blue team send over some Resbots and actually steal the Resurrect right now for the commander right there. That'd be pretty funny. So much friendly fire on those Fatboys. Oh, no. Wow. Okay, well, that's a dead radar tower right there if I've ever seen one. With a single shell shocker. Hero shell shocker right there for the red player, Mr. Tumnus. Mr. Tumnus essentially delegated to a support role at this point, just trying to build economy and try and help with build power wherever possible here. Resbot does barely stay alive. 2% health in that bad boy, but it is going to start eating up a whole lot of metal and sending it back to the Cyan commander. Very nicely done. Yeah, Fatboys with a tremendous capacity for violence. Going to be shelling away at anything that they can over here. Blitz is marching on up, but I think they'll be able to fire before the blitzes get it right underneath them. Very nice. Down go all those blitzes in 2 fell swoops. Now we're actually going to resurrect a couple of these tanks here. Okay, I don't mind it. Could be quite powerful. Commander almost resurrected over here. Commander's also extremely vulnerable as soon as they're resurrected, so you do have to be careful about that. Fatboy's marching on up here. This is actually a really nice position. Yeah, Fatboys definitely could get some significant work done from up on high here. Shelling away at whatever is down below. Mace and tank have been resurrected and are going to start fighting the good fight once more. Resbot's going to get targeted right there, though. MT King does resurrect the commander, though. 7% health in that commander's body. Very, very vulnerable right now, but certainly good to have that commander up and running regardless. Here are those Fatboys, though, completely destroying the economy that MT King had been working on for so long. Indeed, he retreats back a commander, or a constructor rather, and sends it to go build solar panels back here, which is pretty funny. The blue team with a significant advantage, though. Not to be understated, we have so many Fatboys out on the field right now. I wonder if maybe just a whole bunch of welders pushing through the middle of the map wouldn't secure this game. There's not really anything that the red team can muster at this point that would stop a significant push of forces right now. Even just a whole bunch of medium tanks pushing through would be more than enough to melt away all of this economy. Loads and loads of T2 coming up here. Not quite out on the field yet, though. We've got the T2 metal extractors coming up. We've got the Mausers coming up. We've got everything under production, but it's not on the field yet. And those Fatboys are shelling away at this base still. Yep, down it goes. Red Commander tried to keep it resurrected, but unfortunately not going to be able to. Suddenly the bottom lane is completely pushed back. Are we going to go into anything significant over here? We need way more build power right here for VDB. He's got 1 construction turret, but I think he needs about 4. Probably be a pretty comfortable number. MT King not out of the bushes yet, though. Out of the weeds, rather. Fatboy's still shelling away. Tremendously efficient, these boys. How many kills do we have? 72 kills between the 2 of them. Tremendous. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Nothing within fire range of those Fatboys is going to be able to do effectively anything. There's also a lot of Archangels included in this composition, as these Banshees are about to discover. Yeah, those Fatboys are well protected from the skies. Oh my goodness. Yeah, those Archangels, they do some serious work. Tearing down those Banshees before they even have a chance to get close enough to even see the Fatboys marching around out there. Love the resurrect on the geothermal over here. That's going to put the Cyan Commander back in a decent position here. We do have some advanced solar panels up as well, so energy production is looking solid again. Would love to see these T1s dismantled here, and again, more build power is absolutely critical. T2 vehicles are up for clamps right now, and T2 air is coming up as well. Definitely fund the rest of this with T1 solar panels. Tremendous amount of Fatboys, though, coming out from Walking Nerd. I'm surprised we're going so heavily into Fatboys. I don't know if I've ever seen a composition this heavy into the Fatboy production here, but I suppose it works. Interestingly enough, not pushing through the middle of the map. Maybe a Walking Nerd unaware of exactly how powerful the Welder is, just as far as a extremely, extremely tanky unit goes. It's definitely not nearly as tanky as the Fatboy is, but it's pretty impressive, regardless. Radar bot. Going to be included here in this composition. Lovely work. Going to mean that those radars, signatures for those cloaked commanders are going to be visible here to the Fatboys that are marching forward. They'll be more than happy to fire on MT King's commander over here. Down goes the laboratory for the yellow commander, as well as the tan commander, rather. Both of which lose their T1 bot labs, vehicle labs, rather. Mauser trying to shell away over here, but they also don't want to get caught in the crossfire from those Fatboys firing away. Oh, yeah, the Bull's going to have a hard time standing up to those Fatboys. Don't get me wrong, the Bull is a powerhouse, but definitely still suffers from mortality in the same way that all units do when hailed by heavy plasma fire, heavy condensed matter projectile fire. Mauser are going to try their very best, but I don't think they're going to be able to do enough. Those Fatboys are extremely resilient. Resistant to most forms of fire. I feel like maybe I should clarify. I don't mean that there's any numerical resistances going on. I just mean that they're extremely healthy. They have a lot of HP. Sometimes people ask me about that, and it's sort of a it's sort of a bad habit, really, of yeah, mine. It's almost a caster curse sort of a thing. Anyway, a little bit of a side tangent, but not really necessary. That's a devastating explosion right there, shooting across the gap with those fat boys and popping all of the energy converters right here for the red team. That's all of the economy going down the drain right now for the red players. There is not a whole lot left on the back foot here to recuperate into. We have a couple of stealth tanks. Maybe we're going to send those across the map and try and do some damage, but there's not even really a good path to do that. So many units clustered all over the place on this map. Not very big either, so you're not really working within a very generous field here. A lot of fat boys coming out. We have 6 more marching across the map right here. We have 4 more still in the main base. Oh, those stealth tanks. A little bit of trouble. There we go. They managed to move past. I was worried that they were just going to get caught in the crossfire as these fat boys fired away. Mauser go down. Won't be long before the remaining eco structures here for the yellow player go down. The energy converters already popped. The T1 solar panels are falling. This is a... yeah, this is a done game. No way the red team's going to be able to recuperate at this point. There's just not enough efficiency in the world here to piece it back together. I do like uncloaking those stealth tanks, trying to convince the fat boys to fire on themselves. That's a fun strategy right there, but unfortunately not going to be even enough damage to destroy those fat boys. Tumnus goes down right there. And the final commander, the resurrected commander, the one brought back from the dead, MT King here. The final force for the red team. I don't think he's going to stand too long, though. Starlight is out. It's pretty good, but it is singular. Very, very singular. All of the energy economy is falling. The rocket spiders pulled the trigger over here on the right-hand side. The production facilities for the orange player fall as well. Oh, nice D-guns right there. Okay, yeah, you know what? We managed to D-gun down some of those, at the very least. Not bad. MT King falls, and the blue team. It manages to snatch victory here in this game on Faster Than Light. What a fun one. Walking Nerd earning the golden cow with all those fat boys. Don't know if I've ever seen that many fat boys produced here in a composition, but it sure seemed to work out pretty well on this match beyond all reason. Let me know if you enjoyed the match down below in the comment section, or you can hit the like button or subscribe or get notified if you want to see a daily Beyond All Reason video. I do put one out every single day for you to enjoy over coffee or lunch or wherever you tend to enjoy it. But if you so choose, then I will see you in the very next Beyond All Reason video. Peace out, folks.